A galaxy divided. Striking swiftly after the Battle of Geonosis, Count Dooku's droid armies have seized control of the major hyperspace lanes, separating the Republic from the majority of its clone army. With few clones available, the Jedi generals cannot gain a foothold throughout the Outer Rim as more and more systems choose to join Dooku's separatists. While the Jedi are occupied fighting a war, no one is left to keep the peace. Chaos and crime spread as the innocent become victims in a lawless galaxy. Crime Lord Jabba the Hutt's son has been kidnapped by a rival gang of pirates. Desperate to save his son, Jabba puts out a call for help. A call the Jedi are cautious to answer. I know that opening segment like the back of my hand. I did that completely from memory, y'all. I'm impressed that I even got through that. Wow. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another installment of Home Media Reviews. This episode is on Star Wars The Clone Wars from 2008. Not the television series, the movie. That was originally going to be part of the television series, before George Lucas said, hey, let's make a movie, and then they had to make a movie out of it. But we'll talk about that later. Let's not waste any more time. Let's jump right into the history section of the Clone Wars movie. So Star Wars The Clone Wars hit theaters on August 15th, 2008. Over 10 years ago. That's crazy to me that this movie is over 10 years old now. Makes me feel old, because this was my first theatrical Star Wars experience. And I remember vividly when I saw this movie in theaters. My parents had showed me and my brother the original trilogy, I think back in 2006 or 7, and I liked it a fair amount. It really wasn't my favorite. Han Solo in Carbonite really freaked me out as a kid, so I didn't really go back to those movies. I didn't really go back to those movies at all during childhood. I thought, yeah, I've seen it. They were fine. My brother, however, absolutely loved Star Wars, and he loved the action figures. And a lot of those action figures, when we were kids, they were great. That was when, the Saga collection and the Legacy stuff was coming out. Those action figures were fun. Me and him had a lot of fun playing on our floor in our living room, playing with our legions of clone troopers. And our one battle droid. We only ever had one battle droid. We had to pretend there were multiples of them. We had a lot of clones, even had 2 of those speeder bikes that came with the purple clones, but only ever had one battle droid. Oh, we had a super battle droid too. So we had to pretend that we had legions of battle droids, when really there were just 2 physical representations of them. Anyway, back to when I saw the Clone Wars movie. I was on my way back from the zoo with my parents. I was in the back seat. A friend of mine's mom calls my mom and asks her, hey, we're going to go see the Clone Wars movie. Does Garrett want to go too? We have an extra ticket. So my mom says, hey, do you want to go see this movie with your friend? You haven't seen him in a while. He wants you to go. You probably should go. I'm like, okay. I was a bit reluctant at first because, again, Star Wars was not really my thing when I was a kid. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'll go see it. I remember we missed the opening crawl when we walked in. We got to the part where Chancellor Palpatine says, then contact them immediately. Then it cuts to the medical station where the Jedi cruisers are. We were just sitting down when that scene started up. So we didn't miss a lot, but we did miss the opening theme song and the crawl and such. But I gotta say, the first time I saw the Clone Wars movie, I was enamored. I really enjoyed it when I was a kid. And I dare say, if I never saw the Clone Wars movie, I don't think I'd be a huge Star Wars fan today. I'll talk more about that later on in this video, but needless to say, I really enjoyed watching this movie in theaters, and I was even more hyped up when my brother got it on DVD in Christmas 2008, but it had actually come out on Blu-ray and DVD on November 11th, 2008. And this release is very significant. Other than it didn't take very long for it to hit physical media, just a few short months. But this is the first time any Star Wars media had been released on Blu-ray. We had the single disc DVD, and we watched the crap out of that in our household. It was on repeat at least once every couple of weeks. I'm shocked at how much we wore that thing out. I don't even know where it is now. There was a 2-disc DVD release, which included a lot more of the bonus content, which was included also on the Blu-ray. The Blu-ray had even more bonus content, but this DVD version with the second disc has a lot more than your single disc version. I also think this one is the one that has Commander Fox on the cover. And then this next exclusive is interesting. You guys know Steelbooks. Most of the time they're Blu-ray or 4K. Did you guys know there was a DVD Steelbook for the Clone Wars? Not a Blu-ray, a DVD. I don't know why that's so weird to me. I don't think of Steelbooks and DVD fitting well together, because in my mind, that case is going to be too tall, because I'm used to seeing Steelbooks being the Blu-ray sized cases. But yeah, there's a DVD Steelbook, and I'm assuming it's a Best Buy, or it was a Best Buy exclusive. I don't know though. Blu-ray.com didn't tell me. I seem to remember though there was a Blu-ray Steelbook that was released in other countries. I'm not sure which one. Nathan Butler probably has that Steelbook. That might be where I'm remembering this information from. Great YouTube channel. You guys should check him out. Does a lot of Star Wars content, but that might be where I'm remembering that from. But here in the US, we got a plain old DVD Steelbook. It's kind of cool though. It's got Captain Rex on the cover. Now we move on to Target, which has, I think, the coolest exclusives out of this lot. Both the Target exclusive DVD and Blu-ray included different poster arts. This is the one with Commander Fox. That other 2-disc DVD, that had Anakin and Ventress on it with the lenticular slipcover there, just like the Blu-ray did. This version has Commander Fox on the cover. My apologies for getting that wrong. Yes, I do know the clones by their names. I have a figure of Commander Fox. I was very sad when Darth Vader snapped his neck in the comics. The Blu-ray comes with a graphic novel. I think it was Shipyards of Doom, I think is what that graphic novel was. They were little Clone Wars comic books that were coming out around the time the show was airing. DVD also had the comic book, but it was the 2-disc version of the DVD, not the single disc version. So you got those extra bonus features if you got it from Target. And you got a little comic book with it too. And as far as the Clone Wars movie goes, that's it. It got one release back in November of 2008, and it hasn't been seen on physical media since. No reprints, definitely no 4K transfers. Just that one release, which shows you how much this movie is hated. The Star Wars fandom was not happy when the Clone Wars movie came out in theaters. I wasn't part of it. I was 9. I was not allowed to be on the internet much when I was 9, so I didn't really get to see how the fandom reacted, but hearing old interviews and old recollections from fans who were around, they were not happy when this movie came out. And it really didn't do well at the box office either. It didn't gross much at all, actually. I don't even think it broke the $100 million mark, which is crazy for a Star Wars movie. But anyway, that wraps up your history section. Let's move right along to the close-up. Alrighty, everyone. Here's your close-up look at Star Wars The Clone Wars, the movie. Kind of a clunky title considering the movie has the same name as the TV series. We're not covering the TV series. It's the movie, obviously. Blu-ray disc logo up there at the top. Big Blu-ray disc logo, actually, since this was an early Blu-ray release. Star Wars The Clone Wars logo there on the top. Anakin Skywalker with his lightsaber. Looking kind of weird. Not gonna lie, that head looks a little bit too weird. Or I guess large is the word I would use. Maybe not weird, but large. I don't know, man. The animation in this movie is whack. but I kind of like it. So there's all the clones down there on the bottom with Rex, digitally mastered in THX for superior sound and picture quality. I like this poster. If I had the slipcover, which the version with the slipcover, or a version of this movie that comes with a slipcover when you buy it secondhand, that goes for crazy money. I just picked up the one that didn't have a slipcover because it was cheap. However, the slipcover has a lenticular effect to it, so you can see Anakin and also Asajj Ventress. Allow me to give you a artist's rendition of what the slipcover would look like. It's Anakin. Oh look, now it's Asajj. Look, it's Anakin again. Oh look, now it's Asajj. Thank you, Black Series Ventress, you have done well. The spine, Blu-ray disc logo, Star Wars The Clone Wars, some more clones down there on the spine. It actually continues from the front, so that's cool. Lucasfilm logo and Warner Brothers logo. The back, it has your tech specs up here at the top. Your barcode, blurb, clones fighting, weird screenshot of Yoda. Don't know why that's there, but there's clones shooting. Yay. Actually, this is the special features. The blurb's down here. The special features are listed here. My bad. There's all your special features. We'll talk about those more during the menu tour. Got cast and crew information down there on the bottom and legalese and the like. Let me open this up. Here's your Blu-ray disc with... Is that Commander Fox? Pretty sure that's Commander Fox. I'm more familiar with Fox in his Phase 2 armor, especially when Vader snaps his neck in the comics, which was hilarious. So I think that's Fox in his Phase 1 armor. But your disc is cool. And then your digital copy disc is over here. This is not a DVD copy of the movie. This was only a Blu-ray disc release. Your DVD is just where you can access your digital copy, which no longer works. So that wraps up the close-up. Let's move right along to the menu tour. Alright folks, here we are for our menu tour of the Clone Wars. We're just looking at the Blu-ray because this is not a DVD copy of the movie. That is just for your PC to unlock digital copy. So for our menu here, we've got another classic Warner Brothers style of menu. We have clips from the movie playing in the background. Actually, it's just Rex and a bunch of firing cannons there. It's just the same shot repeating over and over again. That's unsettling. We have play movie, settings, scene selection, and special features. For settings, languages, we have English, Dolby True HD, French, Spanish, and Portuguese for spoken languages. Oh, and the clips have restarted there in the background. Subtitles, we have English, French, Spanish, and Portuguese. And then I don't know what menu audio is. Oh, you can turn the button audio on and off. Scene selection. Oh, it tells us right there. We have 46 scenes, and we have a little bar down there at the bottom telling us where we are in the movie. That's convenient, and you can skip all the way to the end. 45 scenes, 46 with credits, and then the bookmarks tab. Still have no idea how that works. Special features, though, this is where the good stuff is. A creative conversation. We have a video commentary behind the story. Clone Wars, The Untold Stories. Oh, and look, there's even like a little description of it right down here, and even the runtime is down there. So that's a sneak peek into the brand new stories, vehicles, planets of Season 1 of The Clone Wars. Voices of Star Wars The Clone Wars. A new score. And then a gallery. And then we have some deleted scenes here. We have Through the Tanks, Rancor Pit, Platform Droid Fight, Cargo Bay. Which, Rancor Pit, that one is interesting because the game Star Wars The Clone Wars Lightsaber Duels actually incorporates that scene into its game. You fight Asajj Ventress in the weird hut monastery that they break into on Teth. It's really cool, actually. Got webisodes introducing Star Wars The Clone Wars. Epic battles. The clones are coming. Heroes, villains, and Anakin's Padawan. And you also have a option down there on each of these sections to play to play all the featurettes and the little runtime. And then trailers, we have Launch Trailer, the Dark Trailer, and Star Wars The Clone Wars the video game trailer. Is this for lightsaber duels? Because I think that's a screenshot from lightsaber duels. And then we have a game, the Hologram Memory Challenge. A lot of featurettes and stuff are on this Blu-ray. That's why I think this Blu-ray is still worth your money today. But we'll talk about that later when we head on back and answer the 5 main questions, as always. Which is what we're doing right now. Alright, so we're back from the close-up. Now it's time to answer the 5 main questions, as always. Number 1. Where can you pick this product up? Secondhand stores. We haven't seen this on store shelves in years. Also the internet. And on Disney Plus, if you don't feel like buying Blu-ray, you can just watch it in HD on that service. Number 2, is this product still being printed nowadays? Ha! No. Number 3, should you pick this product up? I've mentioned in past videos that I don't think the Clone Wars movie is that bad. I think it just gets a bad rap. Going back and watching it this time, though, it's not the best thing ever, but it's not the worst either. The animation is very rough. It's very early on, but I actually remembered it being a lot worse. To me, watching it now, it didn't really look all that terrible. It obviously had some room for improvement, a lot of room for improvement, because once you get to Season 5 of The Clone Wars, the animation is stupendous and it just keeps getting better. But here, you can tell it's very early days, but it doesn't look like Downfall of a Droid from Season 1 of The Clone Wars, which is the worst animated thing I've seen from the show. That episode looks piss poor. You cannot tell me differently. The movie's animation, though, is very rough. It's not terrible, though. It didn't take me out of it. The thing for me was the overemphasis on the characters' facial movements. And their heads weren't moving. Their heads were totally static, but their eyebrows were moving up and down. They were blinking a lot. Their eyelids were moving. Their nose was crinkling. But their heads weren't moving. They didn't look human to me. Obviously, they're not human. They looked like marionettes, is what I've heard a lot of fans say. And I kind of agree with that. They do look like something out of Thunderbirds in this movie. There was just a lot of overemphasizing the facial movements and not a lot of movement on the bodies. They look very stock standard animation-wise. The voice cast, though, is wonderful. I love Matt Lanter as Anakin Skywalker, James Arnold Taylor as Obi-Wan, D. Bradley Baker as like 50,000 clones, because he plays all the clones in this movie, and in the show, and also in the Bad Batch, and in the video games and all that. D. Bradley Baker's getting a lot of work now being clones. But he's great in it. I love him as Captain Rex. And Rex is one of the best characters to come out of this movie. This was his first appearance, was in the movie. And I love Rex here. He's got some great lines. Ashley Eckstein as Ahsoka Tano, pretty good. I don't hate Ahsoka. Early days, Ahsoka doesn't annoy me as much as she used to, because I know where she's going to end up. She's going to get better, so I'm like, okay, we got to drudge through this crap, and then get to around Season 3 or so when she finally starts to mature and become a better character. She's not really annoying to me here. I can see how she could be perceived as that to other fans, but to me, she was alright. She needs to put on some clothes, though. That's weird, man. She's like 14 in this movie, and she has a rag covering up her chest area. Who made that character design? They even managed to bring back Samuel L. Jackson and Christopher Lee for Mace Windu and Count Dooku, respectively. Sam Jackson sounds like he's half asleep during his lines. Christopher Lee sounds like he has no idea what he's talking about, but he's having a good time doing it. I love Christopher Lee in the prequels. I think he's amazing as that character. In this movie, he just wasn't bringing his A game, except for one scene. When he's dueling Anakin on the sands of Tatooine, oh, he brings A game. Surrender the Huttlet or die, Skywalker. He throws out the lightning. I love that duel. It's so good. Especially when you think of it in the context of, it's only been like a few months since Anakin lost his hand in their duel in the Geonosis hangar bay. So that wound's still pretty fresh for Anakin. I do really like Corey Burton as the new voice of Dooku in a lot of the animated stuff. He was his voice in the Clone Wars. Christopher Lee did not come back to do his voice for the rest of the show. That was Burton who did that, and he gives a really good performance in that show. But here, Lee's pretty good. I enjoy his vocal performance. Mace Windu, again, Sam L. Jackson sounds like he's sleepwalking throughout this entire thing. This is a dark day for the Republic. Like, I get it, Sam. This is probably just a paycheck gig for you, but can you give me a little bit of emotion? I'm glad he only speaks a few times and is in a few scenes, because wow, his voice performance here is bad. Hey, but Tom Kane is Yoda. I like him a lot. Whenever I'm thinking of Yoda's voice, like when I'm reading a novel, I picture Tom Kane's voice rather than Frank Oz. Sue me, I know, sacrilegious, but I kind of like his voice better. There's just a lot of great vocal talent in this entire cast, and of the cartoon voice acting cast, they all sound great. As far as the celebrity voice cameos, one of them sounds pretty good, the other one sounds like he wants to kill himself. The plot of this movie is also kinda weird. If you don't know already, I'll give you a crash course history of the Clone Wars movie. This was originally 4 episodes of the Clone Wars cartoon series, and George Lucas came in and said to the team, hey, why don't we make a movie out of this? And you don't say no to George Lucas, so they made a movie out of it. And once you know that, you can't unsee and unfeel the uneven pacing throughout this movie. It feels like 4 episodes of the cartoon series slapped together into a movie. Each episode has its own setup and payoff, rather than having a lot of continuous setup throughout it and then ending with a big giant payoff at the climax and leaving you feeling satisfied. No, you get little setups, little payoff, little setup, little payoff, little setup, little payoff, and then boom, credits are rolling. It's like, did I watch a fully fledged movie or did I just watch an arc of the series? And the storytelling here is not really their best. Again, I feel like I have to keep saying this, but it does get better. The series is fantastic. People watch this movie and think, oh, that's how the rest of the series is. I'm not watching the Clone Wars series. No, trust me, it's not like this movie. It gets so much better. But I don't necessarily think the storytelling here is piss poor or anything. The action scenes in this movie I've heard compared to smashing your toys up against each other for an hour and a half. And you know what? You can think that. That's totally fine. I kind of agree with you. But it's fun. I love the action in the Clone Wars movie. I especially love it because of the clones themselves. This feels like a real war. I've been rewatching the prequels leading up to the Obi-Wan Kenobi series with Hope. And we watched Attack of the Clones. That ending fight on Geonosis is spectacular. But all the clones are silent. There's no camaraderie, there's no lingo, there's just nothing. It's just shooting. Now, it's effective, but when you think about it, it's not really real, because soldiers talk to each other. Soldiers have their own lingo when it comes to how they execute their tactics. The clones here, they have their own lingo. They have their own names they call droids. Clankers, scrap 'em, all that kind of stuff. That's great. I love those little moments with the clones throughout it. It makes it feel like a real army. And it makes the scenes way more intense as well, because as they're yelling, you realize that's not just a toy. That's a person inside that armor. And at least for me, it gives me more of an emotional connection to each clone as they're yelling and saying, "This is it! Scrap 'em!" to the droids. And such. I feel bad on Christosis when the one clone is like standing up on the barricade and is waving his arm, come on, let's go, and immediately gets shot in the head. I'm like, he tried. Really though, I think the real reason that I really like the Clone Wars movie is nostalgia. Because as I said earlier, if I hadn't seen the Clone Wars movie, I don't think I'd be into Star Wars today. It's the Clone Wars movie that sparked really my interest in Star Wars as a whole. It sounds weird saying that because I'd seen the original trilogy, but that didn't really click with me until older age. But the Clone Wars movie, as a 9-year-old kid, that clicked with me. I really enjoyed it when I was a kid. It kickstarted my love for collecting the toys. The toys from this movie were awesome. It was so cool to have an animated Anakin Skywalker and an animated Obi-Wan. The way that they looked in the movie. That was mind-blowing to me as a child. I never had Ahsoka, though. We never got Ahsoka Tano. My family never did. I had to pretend she was there. Or I had to use a different character as Anakin's apprentice. Funny, though, Hope had an Ahsoka Tano. She had the one that came with Rhoda in the backpack. And I know a lot of Star Wars fans, they hate this movie because it wasn't their Star Wars. They grew up with the original trilogy. They grew up with the vintage toys. The Clone Wars, to me, that's my Star Wars. This is the reason why I love the prequel era so much. This is the reason why I love the Clone Wars era so much. It's because of this movie. It hit me at the exact right time, at the right age, to where I could enjoy almost everything about it and not think about how weak it was compared to all the other Star Wars movies. Because, let's be honest, this is one of the weakest Star Wars movies that's ever been made. But I love this thing to death because of how it kickstarted my love for Star Wars as a whole. Without the Clone Wars, again, I wouldn't have a vast collection of Black Series figures. I wouldn't have bought so many Lego sets when I was in my early teens. I wouldn't have seen every movie in the original trilogy at least 20 times now as a 22-year-old adult. I might have still gotten into Marvel, but I wouldn't have loved Star Wars without the Clone Wars. Also, Jabba's one of my favorite Star Wars characters, and I love that he's in this movie. It's cool seeing him as a dad. It kind of humanizes him a little bit more. When I was a kid, too, I kind of thought that when he takes Luke and Han and Leia captive in his palace in Return of the Jedi, I thought he was just mad because Rhoda left, like Rhoda went off to college or something, and he was lonely. So he just wanted friends. This was 10-year-old me's brain. It's so stupid thinking about it now. But that is a legitimate question. What happens to Rhoda? Where does he go during the original trilogy? And also, Rhoda's cute. I fall for that little slug. I like all the lines where Anakin's making fun of him, like, come out of there, you grubby little slug. Oh, he's so cute. Just wait until you see what he'll grow into. Shoot, now I can't stop thinking about the lightsaber duel with Obi-Wan and Ventress. Hey, Ventress is in this movie too. They brought Ventress back from the Clone Wars micro series. She was created for that series to just die, but they brought her into canon here, and she ends up being one of the best characters in Star Wars too. Master Kenobi, always chasing after Skywalker. How predictable. Anakin leaves quite a mess. Which always leads me to you, Ventress. There's such good banter in this movie as well. Maybe it's not just nostalgia. Maybe I actually really like this movie. I think I do. Maybe it's not just childhood me just absolutely loving this movie as a kid. Maybe I actually really enjoy it. I think I really actually enjoy it now that I think about it. Sure, I have those rose-colored glasses on, and sure, I'm looking at it from a very biased perspective because I loved it when I was a kid, and I don't really want to see the flaws in it. But I recognize the flaws in it. It has a weak script. The animation's not great. It was originally 4 episodes of a cartoon series, which leads, of course, to the weak script aspect. Rhoda is very much there to appeal to young kids. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in this movie that, yeah, you could criticize. But man, I don't want to because I had a great time watching it. I almost got to the end of this without mentioning Zero the Hutt. Zero the Hutt is one of the best things about this movie. A flamboyantly gay, probably trans Hutt? That's crazy. Who thought that was going to be in Star Wars? But I love it. He's got the feather in the hair and the tattoos that light up, and after all these years, my most trusted of assassins has finally failed. It's so wacky and out there, but I love it, and I love that he's brought back in the show, only to be killed off in season 3, but it's so cool they brought him back. I'm kind of sad, though, that Hasbro never gave us a Zero the Hutt figure. We never got one. Multiple Jabbas, no Zero. I guess you could customize a Jabba into a Zero, but I have no customizing ability, so anybody out there who knows a custom maker that can make me a Zero the Hutt figure, let me know. I think I've said everything I need to say about the Clone Wars movie. I enjoy it a lot because of how much I loved it as a kid. I love the lingo that the clones use. I love the action sequences. The voice cast. The animation is meh. The script is not great. Jabba the Hutt is great that he's here. I love seeing him as a dad. Rhoda is cute. To me, Zero the Hutt. Just Zero the Hutt. Take that as a positive or a negative. It just, the overall experience of watching the Clone Wars movie, I enjoy it every time. I watch it every couple of years just to relive my childhood, and I just get warm memories whenever I think about it. It really doesn't sit right with me that a lot of people trash on the Clone Wars movie because of the fact that it's not their Star Wars. It's somebody's Star Wars. It's my Star Wars. The Clone Wars show and movie, that was my Star Wars. Just like Force Awakens or The Last Jedi or Solo, that's going to be some kid's Star Wars. Some kid in 2015, when he was 5 years old, probably sat down in a theater to watch Force Awakens and fell in love with Star Wars. That was his movie. The Clone Wars is my Star Wars movie. It's what made me the Star Wars fan I am today, and I am unashamed in admitting that. It gave me my love for collecting Star Wars toys. It gave me the love for the franchise. It gave me love for the clones. It gave me love for Anakin, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, Ventress, Dooku, Jabba even more than normal, Zero the Hutt. It gave me a lot of things. I have a lot that I owe to the Clone Wars movie. And I absolutely recommend that you see it. If nothing else, if you're doing a complete chronological rewatch of the Clone Wars, or just watching it for the first time in general, check this movie out, because you can see where it begins, and when you get to season 7 and the last arc of that, you'll be in tears. Because I was. Number 4, where should you pick this product up? Same answers as number 1. And number 5, what price should you pay? The DVDs are pennies on the dollar. They were reprinted not reprinted, they were printed so much, and a lot of people bought them. Now they're on the secondary market, so there's a lot of them out there. The Blu-ray is a little bit expensive, though. I guess I should give you a price for the DVD. Probably about $5 for that. Maybe the 2-disc. I had another 5 for the second disc, so probably around 10. The Blu-ray is a bit expensive. I had to pay up for mine. I think I paid $30 or so for my copy, and it doesn't even have a slipcover. So if you can find one with the slipcover, expect to pay $40 to $50 for that, because that slipcover is cool, but I don't think I'd pay an extra $20 for just a slipcover. Just the standard Blu-ray, though, without the slipcover, maybe 15, 20, possibly 30. I don't really know what the market is on it right now. The exclusives, it's going to be hard to find those in complete shape, so I'm not going to give you a price on those because I don't really know. Well, my throat is sufficiently dry because I have talked endlessly about the Clone Wars movie, and now I just want to go to bed. So that wraps up the episode of Home Media Reviews on the Clone Wars movie. Truthfully, I'm very thankful this movie exists, because as I've stated ad nauseum, I wouldn't be a Star Wars fan without it. It's my Star Wars. I am not ashamed to say it. Don't get me wrong, the original trilogy is great. It is unabashedly the best thing that the Star Wars franchise has given us is those original 3 films. They're timeless, they're classic. I love watching them over and over again. But I enjoy the Clone Wars movie every now and then because it takes me back to when I was just a little kid in the theater thinking, wow, this movie is great. And then going home and immediately making a Christmas list of all of the Star Wars action figures that I wanted to play with my brother with. A lot of happy memories came from this movie, especially with the toys. The toys were awesome. I love the action figures. I loved playing with my brother. That was great. Great childhood memories there. Dude, he had that Legacy Millennium Falcon, that huge one that was in 3 3/4 inch scale. Oh my gosh, that thing was awesome. We gave it away to a cousin of ours about 9 or 10 years ago, I think, and I wish we hadn't done that. That thing was so cool. He had the gunship and the ATTE as well. We used to put our clones inside of it and fly around and act like we were in a battle. Great times, great times. So what are we gonna do next? Well, that's an interesting question, viewer. Let's pivot once again. Let's get out of 3D and move into 2D animation. Let's take a look at Walt Disney's animated catalog. Not the whole thing. That's a lot in there. That could be its own show, honestly. Let's start off with a movie that I liked a fair amount in childhood, but have a newfound appreciation for it as an adult. Especially now that they've remade it, I especially love the animated movie a whole lot more than that live-action remake. I haven't seen the live-action remake, though, so I don't know if it's bad, but I can guess. We're going to talk about Aladdin next week. I hope to see you all there. Thank you all so very much for watching, and as always, good night, everybody.